It's our weekend preview, our Super Bowl, Liverpool, Man City, Le Classique preview. There is so much action this weekend. We have Jimmy Conrad, Jonathan Johnson to discuss Super Bowl 55, Liverpool, Man City, Palmeiras against Tigres, Le Classique as Marseille face PSG, games in La Liga, the Bundesliga, Serie A, Roma against Juventus. My goodness, what a weekend. And we have it all right here. Que Golazo begins right now. Hey everybody, welcome to Que Golazo. Jimmy Conrad in the house, Jonathan Johnson later. It's Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl LV, as the kids say, Super Bowl 55. Liverpool against Man City, Palmeiras against Tigres. There's just so many games. Jimmy, how are you, bud?
I am excited. I'm curious about the Super Bowl because I feel like commercials are going to be more important than ever to keep us entertained throughout this game. I think it's going to be an entertaining game, don't get me wrong, but without a crowd, without a proper halftime show, I'm curious to see how they keep the festivities and energy up during all the timeouts, because we know there's like 3,000 timeouts in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point about the commercials. Apparently, it's a record-setting price fee that all these companies and brands have spent. And, it doesn't shock me, right? Because everybody's been at home. So they just want to see what good commercials can do. The other side of this, by the way, is let's see what the weekend does at the halftime show. They're going to have to do a lot to try and up Shakira and J-Lo last year.
100%. I'm curious to see how I just want to see a Zoom video from the weekend, for his halftime show, just because that's what we're all used to, is talking to each other through Zoom these days.
Absolutely. And the other thing, of course, by the way, is that Amanda Gorman, the poet laureate, who just was amazing in Inauguration Day, she's going to be part of the festivities. I believe the pre-game she'll do something there. So that's going to be great. But anyway, Super Bowl 55, we thought it'd be fun to, mix both our worlds here, right? Jimmy and I, just to do a little something before we preview all the games. Of course, Liverpool, Man City, we're going to get into that. And, so many other matches. But we wanted to do a little bit of a sort of combining of football and soccer, and see what we can do here. As a defending champion, right, Kansas City Chiefs,
correct.
Tries to overcome Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at the same time as Liverpool, defending champion, is trying to overcome Man City as their title hopes hang by a thread. But we're going to get really deep into that preview after the break when Jonathan Johnson joins us later. But Jimmy, Super Bowl, Liverpool, Man City. Thought we'd do something fun, everybody. We're gonna do some players, right, from both games. And I just want to hear your soccer comparison, your football comparison, right? So I'll give you a player, and you tell me who you think would be the comparison from Liverpool, Man City, not just anywhere. From specifically Liverpool. And by the way, if we say the same person, there's no shocker there. It's fine, right?
That's okay.
But I wanted to make it a little bit harder to make it just Liverpool, Man City players. And if you want to, Jimmy, they can even be legacy players. Anybody from even back in the day.
Legacy players.
Yeah. So Kansas City Chiefs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Liverpool, Man City. Talk to me about who's the equivalent. So let's begin with the obvious first two. Let's begin with the defending champ. Let's begin with Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Pat Mahomes. Who would be your equivalent from a Liverpool, Man City perspective?
So you need somebody who can change a game by himself, correct? I just want to make sure we're defining these players in the same way. Are you on board with that, Luis?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Somebody who's already won a title. I think that's important. So Steven Gerrard, you're out. Sorry about that. Let's see. This is a tough one for me because he can do it all. Maybe Kevin De Bruyne should be in the conversation. I think for sure. Raheem Sterling, I think, should be in the conversation. Game changers do it by themselves. Sadio Mane can be in the conversation. Mo Salah, it's tough. It's a really tough one. I think Kevin De Bruyne might be the right guy, because he is so multifaceted, and he makes plays where you're like, how did he do that? And I think Mahomes falls into that. I don't know if any of those other players do that consistently or as consistently as Kevin De Bruyne.
Yep, I'm with you. Ding, ding, ding. I believe I think a few weeks ago when I was watching him in the championship game, I was like, he does some things where it's just like, how does he even do that? And I feel like the closest one from either of those two teams, at least now, is Kevin De Bruyne. Sometimes De Bruyne does things where you're just like, what? And they both seem like really nice human beings as well, which is also like another win, right?
Yeah, I think they've got good personalities. They seem to have good awareness and perspective, that it's just a game at the end of the day. So I appreciate that. I will say that because they're both passers, right? Excellent passers of the ball. I think that's what tipped Kevin De Bruyne a little bit. Whereas the other guys we mentioned, Sterling, Mane, not Aguero, Salah, are all a little bit more like they're trying to score the touchdowns by themselves in some ways. So I think Kevin De Bruyne is the best fit.
Yep, absolutely. Just decision makers, the architects, right? Kevin De Bruyne would definitely be like a soccer version of a quarterback for sure. All right, from Pat Mahomes, let's go to once again Tom Brady. Clearly one of the greatest who has ever played the game, perhaps even the greatest ever. Tom Brady returning to the Super Bowl. Who would be your soccer equivalent? And again, remember, because he's an old man now. He's an old man now. He doesn't look it, but he's an old man. Who would be your soccer equivalent from either of those two teams?
Yeah. So if everybody's healthy and obviously has a great track record of success, somebody they've counted on to score big plays, I actually like Sergio Aguero to be the Tom Brady. It would be nice if there was some type of equivalent of him having previous success winning titles somewhere else and then coming over to City to do the same thing. I know he had a great run at Atletico Madrid. I don't remember them winning a title when he was there, but he was very good. So I think he would be my best fit. I mean, you could see some shouts for captain material, right? The leaders. So Steven Gerrard, I think, would come into it, but he didn't win any titles. He won a Champions League, so I guess that has to be taken into consideration. Jordan Henderson, maybe. You look at the captains. Kevin De Bruyne, maybe David Silva. Like if he had still been at City, somebody that like is older, pulling the strings. He's not there anymore. So I think Sergio Aguero might be my choice. It's not like for like, but I think you could probably cram in enough narratives to find some comparisons.
No, I like that. Yeah, I was thinking as well, maybe Jordan Henderson, just again, the playmaker, the one that just, is not always the one that does the most athletically incredible thing on the field, but like
I see where you're going with this.
But he takes care of business. I was thinking Steven Gerrard, Champions League Steven Gerrard, as opposed to,
sure.
or Europa, Steven Gerrard maybe. But I think
so. You're looking for like an overachiever, right?
Yeah, but
like, let's be honest, Tom Brady's an overachiever by every stretch of the imagination.
I mean, it's crazy the things that he has done. But Vincent Kompany also maybe, right?
Yeah. I like that shout. That's a good shout.
Yeah. So, but I think I'm going to go with a combination. It's like if you mesh these two people, James Milner and Jordan Henderson, one person.
Not very athletic winners.
Just because of the edge. Yeah, we're talking so much smack against possibly the greatest quarterback that's ever lived. But anyway, all right.
I think he'd raise his hand and acknowledge that he's not a good athlete. But and I actually have the sign behind me for people that are watching on YouTube. It says, "Is Tom Brady the greatest of all time?" And I would argue that he's not the greatest player of all time, but he's the greatest winner of all time.
Yeah, that's a better argument.
I think that's there's a distinction there that's important.
Yeah, I like that. All right, let's move on. Travis Kelce. I love Travis Kelce. He's also kind of a soccer fan, I think, as well.
Aren't they all? They're all closet soccer fans. I like Kelce. I think that he's very dependable, right? Somebody you can rely on all the time to make plays and you can trust. I would say most Salah, Sadio Mane kind of fall into that category for me. Sterling, he's prone to missing some sitters. So is Salah, frankly. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's not as easy. It's not as concrete. I feel like you need somebody that you're going to get a very consistent performance out of.
Wait, can I tell you mine? And maybe it goes. It leans your way. You said it first. To me, I feel it's Mohamed Salah because Kelsey's one of these players that at some point, he's going to be clutch. At some point, he's going to deliver for you.
Yeah.
Maybe not every game. Right. And there may be some injuries in the way or whatever, but at some point, and then when he's on, he's unstoppable. So I'm going to go with Mohamed Salah.
All right. I respect that. I guess I got my defensive as a former center back defender mindset in. I almost want to go with Ruben Diaz just because he's solid. and you know what you're going to get out of him game in and game out. But I really like your point about he's clutch. And I don't know if Ruben Diaz has necessarily shown that yet, but
Right.
the defense for City has been much improved since he's been back there to steady it. And so maybe
that's a good argument because without Kelsey, Chiefs obviously are weaker. Without Ruben Diaz this season, they're exactly. Very nice. All right, this might be hard, Jimmy. Rob Gronkowski, who once again rejoined Tom Brady in Tampa Bay after their success in New England. Who would be your equivalent to Gronk?
So that's a great question because I feel like you have to have a larger than life personality. I think that Mo Salah keeps it pretty buttoned up, so he wouldn't be there. Sadio Mane maybe, but he seems like he's, not looking to cause any trouble or anything, or, I don't know. That feels like more Mario Balotelli-esque when I think about Gronkowski. But I don't know. Maybe that falls into the legacy of Mario Balotelli, where you got a little behavior. He likes to enjoy himself off the field. So I guess that would be my pick as a legacy pick. But if I'm trying to pick a current players, I'm just trying to think maybe Mendy, Benjamin Mendy.
Well, that's a good one.
Because he's good at social media and he's always trying to mix it up, much to Pep Guardiola's chagrin. So maybe I'll go with Mendy, current, and legacy Mario Balotelli.
I like that. I had two. I was thinking Edin Dzeko, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And Rodri, just because of the size. I was trying to think of the biggest. I was thinking of the biggest Man City player, and I think it has to be, aside from Ederson or Stefan, it has to be Rodri, I guess.
Yeah.
But you never know. All right, we got two more. Tyreek Hill.
Wow.
Swiss Army knife, very athletic.
Yeah, can do everything, can run past you, make big plays. I think probably Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, that was
into that. I mean, just in terms of just pace alone, and maybe even size, right? I think they're both little guys, cute as a button. So that probably feels the best, just given like pure speed. I think Raheem Sterling in a foot race is probably faster than everybody else out there.
Yeah, there's also the footwork as well that I was thinking of, right? Like sometimes both players can really fake their opponents out in the speed of a half a second. All right, last one. Mike Evans, wide receiver for Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Big guy, great hands. You pass him the ball, he's always going to make the right decision with it. That's a good one. Baby Bobby Firmino, I feel like he deserves some love. I don't know how great Mike Evans' teeth are, but if he's got great teeth, then him and Bobby Firmino are like brothers from another mother. God, that's a really good question. I don't know. What do you have? I have to think about that one a little bit.
I have Firmino.
All right.
Clutch, not always there, but a good comparison just because he can get in the end zone. He can get you a match winning or a game winning TD or a goal. That was a tough one, so I'll go with Firmino.
Yeah, wow, it's really tough because I think about Mike Evans. So he joins a team that's better, or around better players, and all of a sudden everything gets elevated for him. So how can I say Sterling again? Because I feel like he left Liverpool and then went to City, and then all of a sudden his game got infinitely better. I mean, Mike Evans was doing great stuff before that. Don't get me wrong, but you start to throw around better players like Tom Brady, a better quarterback, and his game rate rises, and you think, oh wow, now we're really seeing the peak. Mike Evans, and I think maybe Raheem Sterling falls into the same one. I don't know. What do you guys think at home? Let us know.
I know. Tweet Que Golazo Pod, Jimmy Conrad, LM Echegaray. Tweet. Who do you think as the big game Super Bowl nears? Hey, who's winning it on Sunday?
Oh my God. So I was in Kansas City. I played there 8 years. MLS. I got to know Dick Vermeil, the head coach of the Chiefs at the time, and then Herm Edwards came in after him, but they were always very kind to us. We shared a lot of the same facilities. So I'd be really put off to not, I'd be really jerk, I'd say, if I didn't support Kansas City at this point as they go for the back-to-back championship. You just can't count out somebody like Tom Brady, who I think is quietly on a mission to prove that the Patriots weren't all about Bill Belichick, that he was the most important piece of that. I don't know if there's that much ego with that guy. He doesn't seem like he has too much. What I find interesting, though, and before we get into the lines, I went on the lines for William Hill for this game. It's insane. Like, I see the soccer lines that they have on there. The NFL is just, you can bet on the coin toss. You can bet on the color of Gatorade that's going to be dumped on the coach. I'm like, what is even happening with my life right now?
The length of the national anthem.
It's insane. I'm like, what? My mind has been blown. So That was pretty crazy, but I have some stats for you guys that if you are going to bet the game, something to consider. Kansas City won their first 2 playoff games by 5 and 14 points, but each of their final 7 regular season wins came by 6 or fewer points. Okay, the line right now is +3. The over-under is 56.5, but the line's 3 in favor of the Chiefs. So they're -3, and the Bucs get 3 points. So they played each other in Week 12. And even though KC jumped out to a 17-0 lead, so I think there might be some action there if you want to say that the Chiefs scoring first. The game was decided by 3 points. Tampa Bay made a strong comeback in the end of the fourth quarter, 27-24. That's the line. I could see it breaking even. I could see this one being a 3-point game. The Bucs, though, have won 7 straight games since then, and they've taken down some pretty good teams along the way, especially in the playoffs, to get to this point. In a one-off, right? I still think Kansas City's going to do it. That line is really crazy. If it was 3.5, I'd be like, oh, I'll take the Bucs. But because it's 3, the odds makers are so good at this stuff. I'm still going to go Chiefs. I think it'll be close. You know, I don't know with regard to the line. I bet you it is a 3-point game.
But I love it. I love that you gave us some lines. See, we give you everything on Que Golazo right here. Listen, my wife is the biggest Pat Mahomes fan. I think he's amazing. I'm a Giants fan, so I have my own personal, views of Tom Brady. But listen, I think I'm going with you 100%. Kansas City, and it's going to be close. Both are going to. It's going to be offensively. It's going to be entertaining. You can't shut down either quarterback. So it's going to be down to both D lines as well, and how.
What do you think about the over under? What do you think about that though? The 56.5.
I mean.
It seems a little. I mean, 27-24 in Week 12, so that's 51, right? I mean, it's
pretty.
I don't know, man.
It's pretty tight. It's not as predictable as you would have thought. Well, I'm going Chiefs by a touchdown.
Chiefs by a touchdown. Wow. Okay. So
27-20.
Listen to this. So there was a guy who, I don't know, it's worth a gajillion dollars. He put the biggest bet on the Super Bowl so far. He put a $3.46 million wager on Tampa to cover that so they get the +3. He thinks they're going to win straight up. So hold on. Let me see his quote. He said, Tampa Bay is loaded with talent on both sides of the ball and led by the greatest football player of all time in Tom Brady. So I'm betting big on the Bucs, who have overcome tough matchups throughout this postseason. That was his quote.
Where's he from?
He's from Houston.
Okay.
He's a furniture store owner who's known for making giant sports bets.
Yeah, well, that's giant.
So listen, sorry, he paid a little extra juice to get it at 3.5. So he took Tampa Bay at 3.5. If he wins this bet, he'll win 2.72 million, but he had to bet 3.5 million to get it.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, dude. Okay, hold on. There was one more bet. I honestly, I just want everybody listening, like, what?
Yeah, that's
what are these
insane.
guys doing? There was another bettor that also went with Tampa and bet 2.3 million. So what do these guys know that we don't? I mean, I'm going with Chiefs from like a sentimental and emotional standpoint. These guys are betting large sums of money that I have never seen in my life. That's crazy. But
Jimmy,
anyway,
I sweat over $20.
You got it. I get it.
It's
I know.
Insane. But anyway, let us know who you think is going to win it. The Chiefs, defending champs, the Chiefs, or Tom Brady with yet again another Super Bowl ring. It should be very interesting. And by the way, before we move on and take a break and welcome Jonathan Johnson to discuss all the weekend action. By the way, JJ, this morning I WhatsApped him and said, JJ, do you want to join us for the Super Bowl chat? And he's like, I know next to nothing to the Super Bowl. So
he's got his own Super Bowl this week, Luis. He's got Marseille taking on PSG. So
that's right.
It's all good.
And he's going to talk about it for us in a little bit. But let me give you a live read here, everybody. Because listen, if you want to hang out with the CBS Sports football crew on Super Bowl Sunday, this year you can. So if you join experts from Fantasy Football Today, the Pick Six podcast, Sportsline on Sunday, 4:30 Eastern for a 2-hour pregame show on Twitch and YouTube. And they're going to have the best DFS plays and a top 55 props countdown. Jimmy mentioned about the crazy bets that you can make. Amazing. Well, there's so many here for Super Bowl 55, handicapping everything from Tyreek Hill's receptions to, as I mentioned, the length of the national anthem. And then going to have a second half watch party from halftime until the final whistle so you can sweat those bets with the team. Everything is on the CBS Sports Twitch channel, twitch.com/CBS Sports HQ. We got it all here. got it all. And Jimmy also gave us listen, we have everything. Let's make sure we pay Jimmy extra this week for everything.
Well, assuming you win, just don't bet $3.46 million. Okay. Just get squeaky bum time with the rest of us with $10, $15, $20.
Absolutely. Anyway, we will be back after the break. Jonathan Johnson will join us to discuss the rest of the beautiful game, our game, because it's a heavy, loaded, packed weekend. Stay right here. Welcome back, everybody, to Que Golazo, our weekend preview. Jimmy Conrad with us. And we welcome, I feel like after a long time, Jonathan Johnson. JJ, what's up, man?
Not much, guys. Doing well here. How about yourselves? Good to be back with you.
Yeah, well, we missed you, right, Jimmy? We missed him.
Sometimes. Just kidding, JJ. We love seeing you and love hearing your voice.
I feel like it's been so long.
It has been a while.
JJ, welcome. Obviously, JJ here to break down, along with us, all the action that's going on around Europe this weekend, which is a lot. And we begin, of course, in the Premier League. We've already discussed it briefly, but we're going to get into the woods here. Liverpool against Man City. Liverpool, who really their title hopes hang by a thread, guys, after that Brighton loss. It's a big deal. Jimmy, let's break down these lines first. I mean, this is a must win for Liverpool.
It's a must win for Liverpool. I just want to let everybody know on William Hill, you can get Manchester City to win straight up at plus 108. So you bet 100 to win 108. I don't think you're going to get better odds on City the rest of the season unless they end up getting far in the Champions League and they run into a Bayern Munich or something and they become a little bit of a second favorite in this. But that's really good odds, especially because, to your point, Luis, Liverpool are on the ropes, man. They're struggling. They had pieced it together for a long time and tried to paper over the cracks. And now those cracks are just, there's holes being punched through them. I was trying to find an even better analogy and I couldn't do it. So if they lose, they'll be 10 points behind Man City. Their title hopes are over. Andy Robertson came out after they lost to Brighton and said that they don't have any title hopes anymore. And I think Man City can see it. They're playing tremendously well right now. I will say, though, with regard to the betting that I'm going to probably provide for you guys, or I am going to provide, Liverpool have not lost 3 straight home games without scoring. They're on 2 right now in the last 100 years. So I don't know if you guys are history buffs or not, but I like City winning and both teams to score plus 260. City, as we've discussed over the last couple of weeks, have really clicked into gear. 13 straight wins in all competitions. They're unbeaten in their last 20. And I just think that given Liverpool's situation, I don't know if Sadio Mane is going to play or not. I think he's kind of questionable. I hope he'd be the guy that maybe could spur on to get that one goal, but I just don't see City losing here. I think they can sense it. If we can win this right now, we're continuing to pad and give ourselves a little bit of a room to breathe, if we do trip up at some point down the stretch.
JJ, listen, I mean, there's something to be said about if there's a worse time to face Man City, it is right now for Liverpool. I mean, against Brighton, yes, they were without Alisson, obviously Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Keita, Fabinho, Diogo Jota, Sadio Mane, Joe Matip. I mean, yeah, clearly the injuries have hurt. But it's more than that, I guess, as well. It's just everything. But this is the worst time to face Man City.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I was really shocked by how poor they were against Brighton. I mean, it's not just the result and losing. I mean, you look at some of the stats, 1 shot on target for the whole game. And that's an attack that boasts Mo Salah, Roberto Firmino. It's not acceptable. It's not good enough. And, I think Robertson's right. Liverpool's title hopes are completely gone at this moment in time because I had them down as picking up 3 points against Brighton and then the City match being crucial to them potentially winning back some ground. Even if they beat City now, that doesn't necessarily get them back into the title race. City have a game in hand and it's, I think it's already beyond Liverpool. I mean, sure, there's pride to fight for because they're defending champions, but you would not bet against, Liverpool dropping more points between now and the end of the season. There's so much wrong with Liverpool at the moment. And yes, of course, they've been majorly unlucky with, so many of those absences coming at the same time. And it's majorly disrupted their chemistry. But, this is also something that we've seen happen in the past with Jurgen Klopp, notably at Borussia Dortmund. And it's something that the team doesn't necessarily recover from. So it's perhaps a bit too early to say that this same thing is happening to Liverpool, but the signs are there that a pattern is repeating itself. Dortmund weren't able to get themselves out of that funk. I mean, okay, they salvaged something of that final season under Klopp, but when a team runs out of gas under Jurgen Klopp, they tend to generally find it quite difficult to get it back. And that is what I'm seeing in this Liverpool over the last couple of months, because some of the games they're losing, some of the points they're dropping at home, some of the teams they're going scoreless against is just, it doesn't bode well.
Having said all that, Jimmy, Man City under Pep Guardiola, their record at Anfield is not good. Is there a hope here? What do you see in this game unfolding, concluded by your final score prediction?
No, what I would say is that they have they're winless in the last 13 or 14 games in all competitions at Anfield. This is a different Anfield. There's no fans or limited fans. I don't think it's going to have the same type of gravitas or intensity. It's maybe not as intimidating. Again, another reason why you don't want to face Man City right now. You're like, oh, hey, come over to our house. There's nobody here to put any pressure on you. And then you can kick our butts at the same time. I just think City are just on it. And I think they have the confidence that comes with it. And I think they know they're on the precipice of let's knock these guys out now. Let's not have to worry about Liverpool for the rest of the season. And this is our time to do it. We're better than them right now. And let's go out and prove it. They're struggling. Let's make sure they continue to struggle. And if they can't score against Brighton, to JJ's point, how are they going to score against the best defense in the league? And they just need one, maybe going the other way to steal this one 1-0. I do think if Alisson plays, Kelleher was in against Brighton. I like Kelleher. I think he's a good shot stopper. I think he's got a bright future, but he doesn't have the same type of presence that Alisson provides, especially for a fragile defense. When you have Jordan Henderson out there or any of these new young center backs that they just signed that probably will have to play because of all the injuries. Fabinho probably won't be back. I like City to win this 2-1, 3-1. I just think they're going to be in complete control. And to JJ's point, I think this is a tough time for Liverpool. Not only after this game, too, I will just tell you guys about the schedule. They got Leicester 6 days later. Then they have RB Leipzig in Germany. And then they play Everton in the Merseyside derby. So this next 2 weeks for them is going to be absolutely crucial and could see them potentially lose their chance at winning the title and also be knocked out of the Champions League.
So 3-1 to you for Liverpool.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Sure.
Fabinho doesn't play. I think that's a big one. JJ, what's your conclusion to this result, do you think?
I mean, I'm really curious to see what kind of 11 Klopp can put out there against City. I mean, like Jimmy said, I think the likes of Kabak and Davies, if they're operational, will almost have to be thrown in. It's just funny that Liverpool placed such importance on strengthening the defense in the transfer window, or at the end of the transfer window, that the attack was kind of overlooked. And for me, I'd say that the bigger worry at this moment in time, particularly at home, is the lack of goals. So I think that the key presence for this match will be Mane, and to be honest, I can see it being ugly. I'm not even sure Liverpool are going to get the goal. I could see it being 3-0 City.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with 3-0.
Wow, 3-0.
That's bold, but it's hard to argue against it given the current form of it.
It's very hard, but you know what? I just listen.
Sympathetic LM.
There we go. Here's the sympathetic.
I know. Here comes my Peruvian grandmother coming in. But I just feel that it's in these situations when the narrative just does a 180. I don't know. But I agree with JJ's biggest point, which is I don't think it matters what happens in this game. I think Man City's winning this league anyway. I just think that the gap is too far, the game in hand, etc. You mentioned the momentum from Man City's side. So even if Liverpool does get a win here, I don't think it changes the overall conclusion by the time the end of the season comes. I still think Man City's going to win this time, but I think Liverpool's going to scratch this win here and get something out of this. I don't know, probably 2-1. But it doesn't matter. Man City's got this regardless of what happens because, as JJ said, they're just playing for pride at this point. But, there you have it. All right, let's move on in the Premier League because we have a lot of games here. Manchester United, after absolutely destroying Southampton, face Everton, who picked up a good win against Leeds United. They were holding on by the end of it, but they got that victory. Man U against Everton, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer against Carlo Ancelotti. What do you have here, Jimmy?
Yeah, this is a good game. I don't know what to make of this Everton team. They draw with Leicester. Then they lose to Newcastle at home, which is embarrassing. I feel bad for them because my Newcastle sucks. And then they do just what they have to do to beat Leeds. You know, a good Leeds team that came in with a lot of momentum. But to my point, as I mentioned before earlier this week, Leeds has yet to win 3 straight league games. So I guess we could see that one coming because they were on the precipice of doing that. But yeah, fair play to Everton. You know, what I find interesting is with regard to this game overall is the lineup choices, because if I'm Ole Gunnar, why would I not roll out the same team that started against Southampton and absolutely decimated them? That would mean leaving Paul Pogba on the bench. He was rested midweek, didn't even come on. That would mean Cavani starting up top, even though Martial came off the bench and scored 2 goals. So I'm very curious about the lineup choices. On the other side for Everton, James Rodriguez was also rested midweek, but they look pretty good without him in the team. So do you find a spot for him? Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored again. Sigurdsson scored. Maybe Iwobi has to sit on the bench so then James can be out wide right and cut in. I mean, I think that's the big story and narrative around this is who do you go with? Who's your top 11 in this given current form and given how well they played just a few days ago? Cavani does have an ankle injury, so that might solve itself, but Greenwood started as well against Southampton and looked okay and was solid. These are the big choices. This is why these guys get paid the big bucks. Personally, I got Manchester United winning 2-1. And I got Martial. I'm going to stay with the confidence guy, plus 140 for him to score anytime. Bruno Fernandes getting assists. He had 2 against Southampton, plus 138. But I really like them winning. And I don't know if Everton's going to score. That's the thing. So I just kind of have Manchester United straight up. I'll get you that odd. I don't know why I didn't write it down. There is one, though, that one exotic that I wanted you guys get into. It was 0-0 at half when these two played against each other about 6 weeks ago. And then United scored in the 88th minute and the 91st minute to win 2-0 at Goodison Park. So if there's 0-0 at halftime, it's plus 225. I like that one a lot. So outside of those 3 exotics, I'll get you the one that I was looking for. But that's how I'm feeling. I'm thinking United 2-1.
Yeah, I think it's a good problem to have for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who to start if he keeps his line, just because, after that destruction. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. JJ, what do you see here? Can Everton do something, against a very confident Manchester United?
I mean, I like that Jimmy's talking about how tight it could be and how tight it's been between United and Everton this season, because this is really a battle between Solskjaer and a tactical master in Ancelotti. And I fancy Ancelotti to set Everton up well, to be difficult to break down. And I also think that there might be a bit of a complacency factor from United in that they're coming into this off the back of a game against a Southampton side that just capitulated towards the end. I mean, we've seen it in the past where they've gone down 9-0, happened again. And, I think that United by the end of that will probably be coming into this game with a little bit of an unrealistic expectation of perhaps how easy it's going to be against their next opponent. Not because it's Everton. I mean, it could have been anyone else in the Premier League. I just think that because of the way that Southampton game finished, I expect Everton to surprise United by being more solid than Southampton were. So for me, I can see Everton sneaking something in this. I agree with Jimmy that there's still a debate to be had over whether James Rodriguez makes this Everton team better or not. But for me, I think that Ancelotti's tactical acumen will speak quite strongly here, and I think it could be a draw.
A draw. Yep. My thing is, we're talking a lot about DCL, James Rodriguez. I think somebody actually that's probably more important for Ancelotti is Digne. Lucas, a lot of the productivity comes from his side.
Sure.
And when you face Aaron Wan-Bissaka, it can be a little complicated, but it's going to be interesting to see that duel. So to me, I think that's where the focus is. But I'm going to go with a very narrow Manchester United win, perhaps 2-1, something like that. Final conclusions on this one, Jimmy?
Yeah, I actually, after listening to JJ and thinking through, remember when Liverpool beat Crystal Palace 7-0 on 8 shots? And
what happened after that?
They only scored 1 goal in their next 5 league games. Maybe Manchester United just, blew all their opportunities, like they blew all their goals for the foreseeable future. I could maybe see a draw here. Maybe they're going to get the same curse,
Maybe.
So maybe a draw could be in the cards. Another key matchup, I think, for Ancelotti to think about is Olsen in goal. Pickford now is healthy, he can come back in, but Olsen was good, and he was very good against Leeds in particular. Do you go with him? I almost would go with Olsen at this point. I thought they looked very stout defensively. Their whole back four was very good, and maybe we can see a 1-1 here, and that's plus 340. The draw straight up is plus 340. That's not a bad shout, JJ. I think I might change my mind. Thank you for that.
That's good for Everton, not great for Manchester United, I would think. So, JJ, you staying with that draw? What's your result, your final result on that?
Did Jimmy take 1-1 in the end?
I did.
He
but we can be BFFs. Come on, JJ, come join the 1-1 party.
I'm going to stick with my 1-1.
Right.
Boy.
Well, there you have it. All right, let's do one more. Jimmy, I know that you wanted to bring this one up.
Yes, I want to talk about Aston Villa. Your guys' Aston Villa versus Arsenal. Again, this is a little bit of an issue. I think for Arsenal, they have a goalkeeper injuries. Leno suspended. Seems like new signing Matt Ryan is going to be hurt. And now they might have Runnerson, who's prone to making mistakes, as their only goalkeeper option. David Luiz is out also. I thought Arsenal were actually very good in the first half against Wolves prior to the red card on William Jose from David Luiz. However you feel about the red card, it was called, and they had to suffer the 2-1 loss. Never really recovered from that. But all things considered, it seems like they're starting to eke out a real identity in some ways. It's a real style of play that you can see now. It's starting to become more evident game after game after game. So I like Arsenal in this one, especially because Villa unfortunately didn't look so hot. And I'm curious against West Ham, and I'm curious to see how they respond to that. My fear for you guys with Aston Villa in particular is that Dean Smith, the manager, just rolls out the same 11 pretty much every single game and then only counts on maybe the same 2 subs. So unless he really starts to trust his depth, I think it's going to be hard. I think they're just tired at this point. You can only play so many games, and you can have a big smile on your face, and you can say all the things that you want to say. Oh, we love playing. We understand how special it is. We're doing it for the fans, but it still takes it out of you. There's still a physical and mental toll to playing all those games if you're the same players they count on game in and game out. So I actually like Arsenal to do the business here, unfortunately. But if you guys think there's a draw, I think Villa will somehow have some backbone and figure it out. Both teams to score and get the draws plus 320. That's pretty good value.
Yep. Some updates here. David Luiz's red card has been appealed, so we'll see if that gets overturned and he starts. Matt Ryan does look like he might be able to compete for the starting role that game. We'll see what happens. Kieran Tierney, by the way, no. And that's a big loss for Arsenal as well. But I agree. Arsenal I think the game totally changed when Luiz was sent off. From Villa's side, JJ, what do you make of it? Let's begin with your thoughts before I offer anything and I try and remain calm.
I mean, it's just been majorly disappointing the last couple of games. I've been saying for a while now that my big fear with Villa is not the tougher games. I'm always confident that Villa are going to perform, particularly on the road. It's games against the teams where you'd expect Villa to do well and perhaps pick up points that they seem to, completely take their foot off the gas. We've seen it twice against Burnley this season. We saw it at home against Brighton as well. And I think that they should have beaten West Ham as well. It's, on paper, those are winnable matches for Villa. And, the league position, especially with the games in hand, is still quite favorable. But the thing that is so frustrating is where those points have been dropped. And I completely agree with Jimmy. Dean Smith is way too predictable with the starting 11. And you would have thought that he would have changed his approach given the absolutely crazy nature of the schedule after the COVID outbreak, because we knew that Villa were walking into a storm with the way that the matches were going to come thick and fast. And it seems like there was very little either preparation for a bit of rotation or just very little trust outside of the starting 11. And it's quite frustrating considering the way that the Villa squad looks this season compared to last, because I think that there is enough depth to rotate. We saw guys like El Ghazi in good form up until a couple of weeks ago, just before the COVID outbreak. And now it's kind of like Dean Smith is reluctant to make too many changes. Feels like he's straying too far from his ideal formula.
Yep. I want to take nothing away from West Ham, by the way. I thought they were very, very good against Aston Villa. But to both your points, Villa was just lethargic. Villa being the team that uses the least subs, you've already mentioned that they can be very predictable. There are some players that you have to start. Ollie Watkins, he's not going to be replaced by Keenan Davis. Jack Grealish, he's not going to come out of there. But I think players like Ross Barkley, I think the fact that we brought in Morgan Sanson, he probably could have started. So there's room for rotation, and I think that was the biggest issue. You could see it. I mean, Dean Smith said it. Like some of the goals that they conceded against West Ham. It was just like Sunday league. And I think a lot of it is because they're just tired. Like you said, it's just a lot of games. So it's the early kickoff on Saturday against Arsenal. It should be interesting to see how Villa reacts against Arsenal, who were very good until Luis was sent off, who equally want to get some kind of redemption in this one. I'm not going to give my prediction. You've said an Arsenal win, Jimmy. What's your final score there?
No, I did say that. I'm kind of thinking that Emi Martinez, the goalkeeper for Aston Villa, who used to play for Arsenal and help them win an FA Cup last season, will be up for this. As long as Jesse Lingard isn't shooting at him, I think he'll make the saves that they need to make. And I could see a draw here, given some of the injury concerns, especially with Tierney and David Luiz in the back. And then Villa beat Arsenal 3-0 at the Emirates earlier this season, back in November. I don't know. I don't want to discount Villa. Anytime I do that, they show up and they're ready to play. Dean Smith will have the guys ready to go. I just worry about that fatigue overall.
I think you need to go for a really heavy Arsenal win here.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll jinx Arsenal and say that I'll jinx them and say that Arsenal wins 3-0. They're going to redeem their 3-0 loss.
Love it. JJ, you going to give a prediction?
I am. I can see it being a high-scoring affair, actually. As much as I'd love for a Martinez clean sheet, I'm actually leaning towards something like a 2-2.
Yeah, that's something similar to what I'm thinking. And by the way, Villa 9th, Arsenal 10th. So, it's obviously important in terms of the table as well, even though, Villa does have 2 games in hand as well. Anyway, so that was the Premier League. Let's take a break, and then we will go for the rest of Europe, including La Liga, Bundesliga, Juventus against Roma in Italy, my God, and, of course, Le Classique, which JJ will fill us in as well. Stay right here. Que Golazo will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Que Golazo. We have Jimmy Conrad, Jonathan Johnson here to break down the rest of Europe and as well FIFA's World Cup of Clubs, I like to say. Mundiales de Clubes. Jimmy, let's begin in Spain. What's going on in La Liga?
Well, there's a lot going on, as always. Atletico Madrid don't play till Monday, so I guess we'll have something to discuss on Sunday about that game in particular.
Against Celta Vigo, right?
Yeah, Celta Vigo. Real Betis is going to be hosting Barcelona, but they play against Athletic today in the Copa del Rey, so we'll see how they play in that one. They've been in very good form under Manuel Pellegrini. We'll see if that continues against Athletic in the Cup. That said, Barcelona have an extra day of rest, so we'll see if that plays into it and helps them out a little bit. And then Real Madrid, I think, is the big one for me. They're taking on Huesca, who are on the bottom of the table in La Liga. They played earlier this season. It was 4-1 in favor of Real Madrid. Benzema scored. Eden Hazard scored. And guess what, everybody? If you didn't know, Eden Hazard's hurt again and should be out for another few weeks. So that's awesome. I just feel like Madrid need to win. They absolutely have to win this one, especially against the worst team in the league. Sergio Ramos comes back into the team. So there is one line that I really like. Benzema to score and Madrid to win 2-0, 2-1, or 3-1. That's plus 400. I really liked that line in particular. Madrid are up against it. And every time they're up against it, especially this season, whether it was in the Champions League or even right now, they're still doing enough to hang around and get the results that they need. And with Ramos, again, back in, he's a captain, he's a winner. I think that will make a big difference because when he's not in the team, they're just not the same. They just lack that substance, that lack that backbone that I think a top club needs. Yeah.
JJ, anything to add from Real Madrid? I mean, this is a must win once again.
Yeah, absolutely. You just wonder what the impact of that Hazard absence is going to be because, he doesn't really get that many runs in the team, for someone that they spent so much money on. It's been a while since we've seen Real Madrid be hurt like this, by such a big money buy. And it's not really the games against the likes of Huesca, where it's going to cost them. It's potentially against the likes of Atalanta in the Champions League. But I agree, with Zidane being, so under fire at this moment in time, they really can't afford any more slip-ups. And it is, a potential banana skin, this one. But I'm going to side with Jimmy and say that Big Ben's gets the job done and keeps the heat off for the moment. But it could come back at any time. Given the precarious nature of Real's situation this season.
Yep, I see Real Madrid winning, but I also see them conceding. I see Benzema scoring, so I'm going with that 3-1 that you just mentioned. Jimmy, what do you think? Final score prediction?
Yeah, I can see a 3-1. I think Benzema's done a very good job over the last few seasons, especially without Cristiano Ronaldo, of scoring the goals that they need against the opposition that they should beat. And that's not an easy thing. We see a lot of teams play to the level of their competition, but for whatever reason, Benzema kind of puts the team on his backs in these types of games. And to JJ's point, they need to start kind of rounding into form ahead of the Champions League, right? You need to start to, okay, everybody's healthy. Let's get into our flow. Let's get into our rhythm. Let's show everybody we're Real Madrid. And now let's go win the competition that we're known for. So they need to start playing well leading into that, because all of us, they're not good enough. Nobody really is that good enough. Maybe outside of Bayern Munich last season, where you could flip a switch and be on again. Or I guess they're doing it this season when they go down a goal. But it's pretty few and far between with teams that have that capability.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, when the Champions League begins, they are facing Atalanta. So that's not going to be exactly a walkthrough. All right, let's go to Germany. Jimmy, the Bundesliga. Schalke playing RB Leipzig, but what else is going on?
Yeah, there's a lot of games, and to our points before about the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich are definitely the favorites to win it again. However, the other teams underneath have to win the games that they should win. And to your point about Schalke, RB Leipzig needs to win this game against Schalke. And they haven't been winning these types of games, or they've been dropping points to inferior opposition. So we'll see how they perform. The game that I really like, though, is Bayer Leverkusen versus Stuttgart. And I bring this one up because Bayer Leverkusen just got knocked out of the cup, the DFB Pokal, which is my favorite named cup competition in the world, by a fourth division team. And they were up 1-0 in extra time. It actually went 0-0 through 90 minutes. In extra time, Leon Bailey scored, and they gave up 2 goals in the last 12 minutes to lose 2-1. It's just unacceptable on so many different levels. Peter Bosch, they have to figure it out. They're now out of the title race. They're struggling right now. They have a ton of injuries. I should list it. It feels very Liverpool-esque. They have Bellarabi's out, Arangis is out, Palacios, Amiri, Wirtz, Schick, Alario, both Bender brothers, the Bender twins, Sven and Lars, which are the most German and/or Swedish names you've ever heard. So they're just struggling. And I think this is a great time for Stuttgart to steal some points here. Stuttgart are the second best road team in the Bundesliga behind Bayern Munich. And they have this player in particular. I want you guys, I'm probably going to butcher his name. I'm going to do my very best here. I'm going to slow it down so I say it right. Silas Wamagatuka, a 21-year-old from Congo. He's got 11 goals in the Bundesliga this season, and he scored in 4 straight games. So I like him to score, okay? Him to score and Bayer Leverkusen, Stuttgart to win is like plus 450. And if you just want Stuttgart to win straight up, it's plus 750. And if you want Stuttgart to win straight up away from home, it's plus 270. I like that one a lot. That's one of my favorite bets of the whole weekend.
I like it. By the way, Bayern Munich not playing this weekend because they are in the Club World Cup. JJ, anything to add from the Bundesliga? Once again, the theme is repetitive. Bayern's going to win this. It's just about who's second.
Yeah, first of all, I want to give Jimmy compliments for the pronunciation. Wamangituka is right up there. Not quite as difficult for him as Lyon, obviously. But,
I'm trying.
I'm definitely impressed by that. I mean, I'm also keen to see what Stuttgart can turn up in that match. I mean, Leverkusen, it just seems like their season has been falling apart now for the last couple of weeks. I mean, we all know about the history that Leverkusen have of throwing away good positions and good opportunities to.
That's why their nickname is Neverkusen, right?
Neverkusen, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that there's also a good opportunity here for some of the chasing pack to take advantage of the fact that Bayern are away, because quite often Bayern will get a result and it seems to daunt the teams that were capable of challenging them for the title. So for Bayern to sort of not be there, takes a bit of the pressure off of the likes of Dortmund, Leipzig, as they tried to get themselves back into title contention. Because when Bayern come back from the Club World Cup, they're going to be pretty tired. I mean, we've seen, after the UEFA Super Cup earlier this season, they got absolutely hammered by Hoffenheim coming back into the league. And I think that's the kind of opportunity that these title contenders have to be hoping for. I think it's probably going to fall away for Leverkusen, but I still think that somebody like a Leipzig really has to try and keep as much consistency going as possible, to see if there's an opportunity where Bayern throw away some points and they can take advantage of it. But it's been a bit frustrating the last couple of weeks to see Bayern sort of pull away when it had looked so tight up until quite recently.
Yeah. All right. Let's move to Italy, because there is a huge game in Italy, in Serie A. Jimmy Conrad, Roma in third, Juventus in fourth. They're facing each other. On one side, you have Brian Reynolds. On the other one, you have Weston McKennie. We'll see if either start. Brian Reynolds, I'm sure not. But my God, Roma, Juventus. This is a big one, Jimmy Conrad.
Yeah, it's a very big one. What I'll say is that this one looks to be a cracking affair. I think Roma's got some turmoil behind the scenes with the Edin Dzeko situation. Whether they want to or want to admit it to themselves, that stuff does trickle onto the field. You have some animosity. I think they think that everything's been settled, but there's still going to be some residual emotion. And I wonder how that's going to impact them, especially because Juve are coming in off of winning 5 straight since losing to Inter Milan. They beat Inter Milan actually in the first leg of the Coppa Italia semifinals. They look good right now, and I think they have a lot of confidence, and that makes me worried. Juve don't lose at home very often. I think they've won 36 out of their last 38 in Serie A at home. So it's all kind of pointing towards Juve, even though I'm a Roma supporter and I want them to do well. They do have the firepower to score. I just don't know if they got enough to win it. They feel like Bayer Leverkusen in some ways, where they get close, but they never really get there. That's kind of Roma. So I've kind of listed these ones, and I might do this moving forward. My safe bet here is that Juve wins in over 2.5 goals, plus 130. I like that a lot. I think there's a 2-1, maybe 3-1 here. My somewhat risky bet, and I'm speaking as a Roma fan because I want to give the club I support a chance. I'll go with the draw on both teams to score, plus 350. You never know. That could possibly happen. The riskier one, and obviously it's a bit more of an exotic, Ronaldo to score. He just scored recently, and he scores all the time, as we know. And Juve to win either 2-0, 2-1, or 3-1. Now, these two teams played to a 2-2 draw earlier this year, and that pays 450. I mean, it's pretty good value to get Ronaldo to score and those score lines. So I don't know. Pick your poison, everybody.
Well, I tell you what, Juventus win this, and they obviously leapfrog Roma. They go third, and they'll go 4 points behind Milan if they don't beat Crotone, which doesn't seem likely, but still, they will still be climbing up that table closer to Inter as well. JJ, pretty exciting. I feel like out of all the leagues, Serie A is possibly the most exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like every time there's an opportunity to rule Juventus out of the title race, something happens that kind of keeps them hanging in there. I agree, Juve are in good form at the moment, but also something that's been a recurring theme so far this season is every time they've looked like they're ready to relaunch their title aspirations, they get some unexpected result that completely throws them back out of it again. We saw them lose at home to Fiorentina in the final game of 2020. I'm not necessarily expecting that to happen, but they have dropped a lot of points in draws. And I think that they cannot afford to drop any more points between now and the end of the season if they want to be absolutely sure of overhauling AC and Inter at the top of the table. So for me, I think that if this is a draw, which it very well could be, it's going to be another dent to Juve's title aspirations. The draw is the result that I'm feeling. It wouldn't surprise me to see Juve sneak it by a small margin, though.
Yeah, I see Juventus really just winning all out here. They're going to be hungry. I do go back to that cup game where Pirlo subbed off Cristiano Ronaldo, and he was so mad, and Pirlo was like, there's no clause in his contract that I can't sub him. I feel like Ronaldo might want to prove a point in this one. We'll see what happens. What was your final score prediction, Jimmy?
Yeah, my heart's saying a draw. I'm going with JJ there, and both teams to score. I think without Chris Smalling, he's going to be out for Roma. He's got a bit of a muscle injury. I think he provides a little or more stability than some of the other defenders. But they do have this prowess of going forward that I really like. I just don't know which version of Rome is going to show up on the day. But as they battled before 2-2, I'm going to say, though, that I think that Juve is going to do it, especially with Cristiano Ronaldo coming off a brace a couple of days ago. I just think he's going to be feeling it some more. And that guy is hungry for goals, man. He loves it. And, he wants to make sure he continues to be on top of the scoring charts. So, yeah, I think 2-1. 2-1 Juve is probably my head talking.
All right. Listen, this is a very loaded, very packed weekend preview. Before we go to Le Classique, let's just quickly talk about the FIFA Club World Cup. Tigres beat Ulsan Hyundai 2-1 thanks to a brace from André-Pierre Gignac. Some could say the best player from Liga MX in the last decade. Honestly, he's just an absolute machine. And now they're going to face Palmeiras on Sunday. So it's kind of like a Brazil-Mexico situation here. That's always good. And Bayern Munich, by the way, on Monday, they'll face the winner of Al Duhail and Al Ali, who face literally as I'm talking, they're kicking off right now. So that's anything from there, Jimmy, from the Club World Cup. Palmeiras, Tigres. Ooh, baby.
I actually think on paper, Tigres is the better team. I know Palmeiras just won the Copa Libertadores. It was not a great game. I do think that they have some firepower to score some goals. Luis Adriano is probably the more famous name out of their club. But Tigres, I just think that they are better. And if André-Pierre Gignac, after his brace today, can keep that going and keep being hungry, feed that bear because he likes to score, I like Tigres. And I would love to see Tigres versus Bayern Munich in the final. I really want Al Ali to win. they were the treble winners in Africa, and it would be cool for them to take on the treble winners from Europe. So that would be a cool matchup, and we'll see if that ends up happening. But I suspect Bayern will get to the final, and I hope that Tigres is there to match them.
Yep, I agree. Hey, JJ, question for you. What does France, the French community think of Gignac, somebody whose career has gone everywhere, obviously included the national team as well, the World Cup as well, of course. What do people think of André-Pierre Gignac?
I mean, obviously, he's very popular in Marseille. It was his childhood club. Ended up coming good there after a very difficult start. Took Marcelo Bielsa to really get him into this form that we see him in now. And if Gignac's success in recent years, particularly in Marseille, can be put down to just one moment in his career, it was that moment where Bielsa arrived at Marseille, turned him into a completely different player, got him in much better shape than he's ever been at any point in his career. And even got him into contention for the French national team as well. I mean, I think internationally, people remember that miss late on in the final of Euro 2016 against Portugal when he hit the post. And that's kind of soured people's memories of him in a France shirt. But he's always been a very prolific goal scorer. When he broke out playing for Toulouse, with their unexpected qualification for the Champions League around about that time as well. He's somebody who has always shown a lot of promise, and it's great to see that he's finally delivered somewhere. And I think that the French also have a lot of admiration for him in going and trying something culturally different, and going and making a hero of himself outside of his home country.
See, I love the fact that I asked you that because I knew you were going to talk about him and Bielsa and Marseille. And this is the segue for Le Classique, Marseille against PSG. So much to talk about. But before all of that, JJ, very quickly, Neymar, PSG, very close to finally figuring out, yes, this is where he's staying. Yes?
Absolutely. I mean, we've heard our colleague Fabrizio Romano giving us the latest details. There is a contract extension of 4 years that's very close to being agreed. And obviously with Neymar's birthday coming up later this week, who knows, perhaps it's about the right moment for PSG to make an announcement. But this will be a key move for PSG in terms of, keeping themselves strong for the next couple of seasons and potentially trying to convince the likes of Kylian Mbappe to extend and Lionel Messi to make the move from Barcelona financially. I think there are a lot of questions around how PSG make this contract renewal happen at this moment in time, but we'll just have to wait and see exactly when PSG announce it and the nature of what they're announcing. But yes, there is an agreement very close for Neymar and PSG to continue for another 4 years together. So it's something that's definitely on the radar for the next couple of weeks.
Love it. And we have a big game coming up, Le Classique, Marseille, who are just in turmoil. We've all seen Andre Villas-Boas, just everything that's just gone down. The fans breaking out into the training center. Jimmy and I talked about it earlier. But what's the latest on this game as we preview a really big matchup in Ligue 1?
Yeah, I was disappointed to miss the Marseille funeral special with you guys earlier in the week. Honestly, in all my years of covering French football, I don't think I've seen anything as crazy as the last couple of days with Marseille. Between the fans storming the training facility and the match being postponed on the Saturday, to Villas-Boas' unexpected press conference, claim that he submitted his resignation and was waiting for the club to respond, yet when you're under contract in France in a job and there's a defined end date of that contract, you can't resign from it. You can either be sacked or made to continue until the end of that. So now that Villas-Boas is suspended, you had the sort of comical final interview with him out of the window of his car as he was being escorted from the premises. That's sort of, I think that's the comedy aspect of the Marseille downfall that's gone now. We saw them throw away a 2-goal lead in midweek against Lens. I don't think there's necessarily any shame in drawing against Lens, considering the way that they're playing this season. Very underrated side with a Gaël Kakuta who's finally delivering on that promise we saw early in his career, but disappointing for Marseille. Some positives in it, obviously, Arkadiusz Milik off the mark. So that's something for Marseille to take into this game. But I just think with all the chaos surrounding them, you need a real tactical plan when you're going into a game against PSG. We saw it work in Marseille and Villas-Boas's favor earlier in the season when they went to Paris. They went with a clear idea of what they wanted to do to get in PSG's faces, to rile them up. And that worked. We saw all the fireworks on the pitch, multiple red cards, tons of yellow cards as well. Very feisty affair. I expect this to be feisty again, because when is it not in the Classique? But I think that PSG tactically, especially with the embarrassment of the loss against Lorient recently, I think Pochettino is going to be motivated to make sure that PSG don't slip up here, because they know that, there is title aspirations on the line with Lille and Lyon still going strong.
Yeah, Pochettino's first Classique as a manager. Jimmy, any lines on this one or anything from this game? You would imagine a PSG win.
Oh, 100%. I think Marseille is a dumpster fire right now. I do think, though, that this game is different. It's a derby. There's a lot of emotion. And I do think that Marseille, given all the stuff that's been happening, will be up for it in some capacity. Now it's just a matter of the quality of PSG wearing them down. So I think Marseille will find a goal somewhere. But Neymar in particular doesn't like Alvaro Gonzalez, the defender from Marseille, given their little history.
That's an understatement.
That's an understatement. And given that it's his birthday, it will be his birthday on Friday, or when have you guys listened to this? Fridays will be his birthday. And I think he's going to want to give himself his own best birthday present. I think Neymar to score, PSG to win, and both teams to score is plus 280. That's where I'm leaning, because Neymar loves rubbing it in Marseille's face. And given the fact that Marseille aren't in a good way right now, he's going to really, I think, double down on that.
There you have it. By the way, Neymar said he doesn't think he'll ever play in the Premier League. Is that right? Did he say that, JJ?
He did. It was an interview, I think, with the Daily Mail through Poker Stars. So yeah, he was saying that he doesn't think. I mean, he could see himself potentially, say, in a city like London, but in terms of the football, it's not somewhere that he sees himself being. And obviously, he's very happy in Paris with the PSG project. And I think a lot of that now is down to the fact that he's known for quite a while that door is firmly shut on a return to Barcelona, which is why he's so focused on trying to get PSG to get Messi to Parc des Princes.
Interesting. I wonder if, because I've been thinking Man City Messi is just a no-brainer, but I'm wondering if PSG now is possibly getting closer. All right. Well, that's our weekend preview. My God, the longest one yet, but the most worthy one yet.
So worth it. So
absolutely. Hey, listen, final thoughts from both of you. Jimmy, let's begin with you as we look ahead to another crazy weekend.
Yeah, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I hope that you guys eat thousands and thousands of calories, and it's worth it. Every cent of it, every second of it is worth it.
JJ, final thoughts?
Yeah, likewise. Hope everyone enjoys the Super Bowl. Don't forget to check out my interview with Genk and Finland's Jere Uronen, where he talks about his love for American sports. Interestingly, could have taken up a career in ice hockey before deciding to go down the soccer route. Obviously, we can say that one worked out for him well, playing his trade in Belgium alongside Mark McKenzie, who's just joined from Philadelphia Union. That was a really cool interview, and hope that everyone enjoys that pre-Super Bowl reading.
I love it. Yes, please make sure you check it out on cbssports.com on our soccer vertical. Jonathan Johnson, thank you so much, bud.
Thanks a lot, guys. Always
Jimmy, thank you so much, buddy.
Yeah, it was awesome. See you guys on Sunday.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank Jimmy Conrad and Jonathan Johnson for joining me today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Que Golazo Pod. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts. Please leave a rating and review. We're on Spotify and Stitcher. And guess what? We have our own YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Que Golazo. Make sure that you see all the videos from these shows. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Please don't have any parties. Make sure that you are safe, you are healthy, you socially distance, but most of all, enjoy all the action from the weekend. See you next time.